A baker, some magic, and a bit of gingerbread. After her father passes away, Focaccia is left in charge of his bakery in the woods. With no one else to help her, she grows overwhelmed, only to unlock the magic hidden in her baking. With a newly made home of gingerbread, Focaccia falls into a rhythm of nonchalance. One day, when a young man and woman come to visit, she finds her true calling, to bake children. A retelling of the popular fairy tale Hansel and Gretel, with a touch of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, join Focaccia as she bakes her future, one piece of gingerbread at a time. Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I'm your host, Jonathan Taylor. It is officially spooky season, and I thought I would celebrate the opportunity with a series of reviews. First among them being one of a horror light novella, namely Focaccia by E.S. Barrison. I haven't been able to talk about Barrison so far in this, on this YouTube channel, but I have been in touch with her for quite a while, mostly over Instagram. Even did some beta reading for two of her projects. As far as I've been able to discern of her style, she typically writes cozy fantasy in first person, where the main characters are always young women whose character development consists of learning what their means and special abilities, mostly magical abilities, are, as well as how to utilize them within the world they find themselves in. Common themes that permeate her works include family conflict, coming of age, and the power of language, or more precisely, the power of spoken words. She also has a relatively broad bibliography in spite of a relatively short career, so if cozy fantasy and the occasional intrigue is something that is interesting to you in any way, then I can't help but recommend you check out her works. You're bound to find something you'll enjoy. That being said, where does Focaccia fit into this tapestry? Well, it is part of the Unsought Fairy Tale collection, where Barrison seeks to retell, reinvent, repurpose, if you will, various European fairy tales. And Focaccia in particular is, as the synopsis I read at the beginning of this video says, a retelling of Hansel and Gretel, from the perspective of the witch, who also happens to be the titular character. The first half of this novella goes into how she discovers her magic and learns how to use it, and the second half explores her relationship with the Hansel and Gretel analogs of the story. Because, yeah, surprisingly, it's a little more complex than just she tries to eat one of them. There is, as I've said at the beginning of this video, a touch of horror, a small assembly of horror aspects. However, they do not stem where you would expect them to stem from. I won't go too deep into details on that because spoilers, but I will say that these aspects, chief among them being body horror and existential horror, are for the most part very well done and very well integrated within the actual story itself. Like it is effective when it does come up. Also, because the story is a first-person narrative, the readers get a front row seat on everything that's going on within Focaccia's head. So her pain, her surprise, her sorrow, her anguish, but also her joy and her admiration. All of these are presented in a very intimate, very relatable way that helps flesh out this titular character and makes her definitely become the standout of the story. Then again, it's not that difficult to stand out within this narrative because a lot of the other characters are more written from a more functional, utilitarian perspective. They only exist within the story as far as the role the author expects from them is fulfilled. There are some exceptions to that, but they are first of all quite few, and second of all, they do not match the level of attention and care that Focaccia herself receives. And these characters are Krum, I hope I said that correctly, who is one of Focaccia's little helpers, and the Hansel and Gretel analogs. Another thing that I find disappointing about this narrative is the fact that the world in which this story is presented is either underdeveloped or underexplored. Bereson's world building has always been kind of mixed. However, this one is the worst I've encountered of her so far. Like the setting is supposed to be generically pre-industrial European, with German being perhaps chief among these European influences, but she is very sloppy in how she executes and presents these influences. And I'm only going to name two of the most egregious examples I could think of. First of all, the fact that the Hansel analog is called Han instead of Hans, which is what Hansel is actually the diminutive of. She somehow got Greta right, but not Hans, because reasons. And also the fact that this supposedly pre-industrial setting has ovens that can be turned on and off. Yeah, until I find some oven or cooking historian that tells me otherwise, I'm still gonna call bullshit on that. And yeah, I know these sound quite small, but first of all, so is the book. So proportionally, they are quite significant. And also, these are just the two most egregious examples, because when you add them all, if I were to add all of them up, well, this video would be quite a bit longer. First of all, and second of all, it would not be as interesting. But I'm mentioning them, but I still think they are worth mentioning because they reflect the problems I've had with the book, namely the fact that that the superficial way this narrative treats its elements ends up hampering my immersion of it, and makes the drama that Bereson herself is trying to build feel a lot more shallow, and the story she is trying to establish that much less meaningful, regrettably. Overall, while I think there are various parts of this story that are underbaked, haha, the parts that are done well do still stand out and are presented in ways that very much attract my interest and make me enjoy reading it. And I think they are definitely worth, and therefore I think this story is definitely worth any readers or anyone who wants to read it will find something that is worth their time and attention in this book. My final rating for Focaccia is a 3 out of 5. And that was my review. Thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed it, then please leave a like, and maybe even share this video wherever you think other people will like it as well. If you have anything you'd like to add to my review of this book, the comment section awaits your input. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. Ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. My own book, Heir to the Empire: The Next Generation, is available at most major book retailers under a master link in the description down below. Right past my social media, which I also suggest you check out, should you feel so inclined. Until next time, I am Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.